Hey dudes! Welcome to a special episode of the Hey Dude Show. This time it's going to be my top 10 favorite films of the last decade. Now I know it's almost March, I'm a little behind on this, but, you know, it took me a while to get my shit together. And to join us with color commentary is Nathan.
I'm here too. I'm off screen because people don't like me, so.
That's not true. But let's see, let's get started. Film number 10, Andrew McKay's Vice. Ta-da, see, isn't that a cool box? I love the box design. But, a wonderful film. Christian Bale, his performance of Dick Cheney is almost flawless. But unfortunately, because of the politics of Hollywood, he did not win the Oscar. Rami Malek did for putting in some buck teeth and dancing around half naked. But, hey, you know, that's Hollywood. But that's my number 10 film, Vice. My number 9 film, Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. When I first saw this movie in the theater, I almost fell asleep. And I thought it sucked ass. And I was so disappointed because I thought, my God, that's the best Spielberg could do. And then I saw it on Netflix. For some reason, I don't know why, I decided to watch it again. And I thought, this is a fucking brilliant movie. What was I thinking? So I bought it on Blu-ray, and I've watched it several times since. This is a great fucking movie. It's a, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis's performance of Lincoln is incredible. But that's just the least of it. It just tells a great story. And it shows that Washington was just as fucked then as it is now. And if Lincoln was truly that great of a president, why'd we shoot him? But number 8, I'm going backwards here, right? Yes, number 8 is Sucker Punch. A film that didn't get a whole lot of box office, because it didn't get a very good release schedule. Because, first of all, this film is a PG-13 film that got rated R because of politics. The politics were that this film was about empowered women kicking ass. But I guess the ratings board thought that was too controversial, so they gave it an R rating. For no reason. There's nothing in this film that's R-rated except maybe a little bit of violence. That's bullshit, but that's another story. But this is the style. This is one of the best, most stylized film of the last decade. And Larry Fong's cinematography is bueno. And it's just, I don't know. A friend of mine recommended that I watch this, and I got it and thought, my God, this thing is incredible. Why didn't I see it in the theater? Because nobody saw it in the theater. That's why it flopped, I guess.
Apparently.
Let's see. Next is Jordan Peele's Get Out. Such a great Blu-ray, it's still in the plastic. I haven't taken it out of the plastic yet.
Yeah, you love it so much, I've kept it.
Yes, I love it so much I bought it twice. Because I originally bought it for a couple of bucks on regular DVD, and then I found out the Blu-ray had an alternate ending and a bunch of making of stuff, so I bought the Blu-ray. But I haven't watched it yet. Something to do in the coming weeks while I'm recuperating. But this not only is a great, I don't want to call it a horror film, because it's not a horror film. It is a suspense film. It's a thriller, I guess you could call it that. But more than anything, it's probably the best film made on race relations, at least the way they stand today. You know, this film basically tells Spike Lee to go kiss his ass, because this is quality filmmaking, something Spike Lee's never been able to do. But the performances are great. If you haven't seen this film, see it, and you got to sit and watch it in one viewing. Don't pause it and go pee or anything, because it all falls together. And the ending will blow your mind. from early in the decade, I believe it was 2011, is Kevin Smith's Red State. We all know Kevin Smith from his funny movies, his Silent Bob and Jay movies, and my favorite of his, which was Zack and Miri Make a Porno. I think it's a hilarious movie. But this is not a funny movie. This is, again, you can't really call it a horror film. It's a suspense film. It's a thriller. It's a political film. It says a lot about red states in general, and and guns. It says a lot about guns and the way we live in a gun culture. And John Goodman is incredible in this film. But definitely look this one up. Red State by Kevin Smith. Where are we at here, time-wise?
6 minutes.
Oh, okay, we're good.
Oops.
Left or to go?
That you're in.
Oh, okay, good. What are we up to? 5. 5? Yes, number 5. A little film that nobody really saw. I just love it. It's called The Sessions. It's a film about a man who lives in an iron lung, who has a polio victim, who lives in an iron lung. He's allowed out of it about 2 hours a day is about all he can manage. And he decides, as he's approaching probably the end of his life, that he wants to lose his virginity. So, through a series of events, he ends up hiring a sex therapist, a sex surrogate, not so much a therapist, to help him with this task. It's hilarious, it's poignant, it's touching. The performances are incredible. I can't remember this actor's name. It's John Hawkins, that's what it is. John Hawkins, who plays the title character. He doesn't have polio, he's not crippled, but you would know it by watching this film. In fact, apparently, during the filming of the movie, he had to lay on a soccer ball just to contort his body to look like he had polio. And I guess it was terribly uncomfortable and it caused permanent damage to his back. But he did get an Oscar nomination, I believe, for his performance. But it's a film that my mother would probably call cute. But anyways, number 4, Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris. Probably the best Woody Allen film of the last 10 years for sure. There's definitely been periods in Woody Allen's career where he peaks and it kind of ebbs and flows. This is a peak for him in his later career. I don't think he's going to top it before he tops himself here. I mean, what is he now, 84? He doesn't know. But this film about a writer on vacation in Paris who has interesting encounters with the past and goes back in time and meets some of his favorite writers and artists of the past time. It's I do believe it won an Oscar for the screenplay, if I remember correctly. But it's a great story, and in typical Woody Allen fashion, it's brilliant filmmaking. Woody Allen is probably, next to Steven Spielberg, the greatest filmmaker of our generation. The next one, and I don't have the cover for it, but it's Love, Simon, a sort of coming-of-age love story about a high school student who just so happens to be gay. That's kind of irrelevant to the story, but it's kind of the backbone. But
it is the story.
Well, it is the story, but it's almost kind of like a backdrop. I mean, it could have been easily about a heterosexual relationship. I mean, it doesn't rub your nose in it like a lot of those kind of films do. And the performances are great. What's her name? Catherine
Langford.
Catherine Langford is so cute. Oof. And but the performances are great, and it's poignant, and it's great. 2 and 1 are kind of tied, but to break the tie, I kind of flipped a coin. So number 2 is Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street. Sort of epic journey of the story of a sleazy businessman who gets his in the end.
Spoilers.
Yeah, well, it's a true story. So it's about Jordan Langford. I mean, it's like I said, it's true. But this film did set a record. It's just over 3 hours long, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 179 minutes. And according to the Association of Motion Picture, whoever does the ratings, this film, they say the word fuck 565 times in this movie. It set a new record for the amount of times the F word was used in a movie. It's a film about bad people doing bad things, which is what Martin Scorsese does. He does films about bad people doing bad things. So if you don't like bad people, don't watch Scorsese movies. And while you're at it, see The Irishman. That was pretty good. Although it didn't make my list so far. This is better than The Irishman because it's more concise. And number 1, I think the best movie of the last decade is Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. Not only a great story from a really good book, but technically it's a brilliant piece of filmmaking. How it didn't win the visual effects Oscar is complete bullshit, considering isn't this the year that First Man won, which was like, okay, we'll take some old NASA photographs and clean them up and digitize them.
Make Ryan Gosling look like an asshole.
Yeah, they couldn't have optically printed in a personality on him. But this is just it's great storytelling. It transports you to a completely different world, which is what I require from a great film, is to take me someplace I will never be and tell me a great story while I'm there. That's what Ready Player One does. And of course, nobody does storytelling better than Steven Spielberg. So if you're looking for a great time, check out Ready Player One.
It's kind of funny because Love, Simon and Ready Player One came out like a week apart.
Yeah.
And we saw them both in theaters like 6 times.
Yeah, I know. These come in spurts. It's like there's a couple of them that were like 2004, and then the other ones that were recent. And then in between, it was pure shit. Basically, the last decade was pretty bad. I mean, these are great films, but I don't think any of these would make my all-time top 10 list because they're, which I think I already did that show, didn't I?
I don't know.
Well, it wasn't an all-time top 10. It was just the 10 films I would take to an island with me if I had to, which is kind of the same thing. But none of these would make that list. Maybe Wolf of Wall Street, if I had to go away to jail or something, could only grab a couple of discs, I would take this one just because they say fuck a lot. But it's funny. The Quaalude scene alone is worth the price of the disc. But that's that. Send me your comments. Let me know what you think the best film of the last decade. And don't. I don't want to hear about this year's movies. 1917 and Parasite and all that bullshit because I didn't see that crap.
And given the fact that it's not on DVD yet.
Yeah. Well, 1917 is coming out pretty soon. I think Parasite's out. I'm not sure, but. This year's crop of films was disappointing, I thought. I'm glad Parasite won. If anything, it pissed off Trump, which is great in my book.
You couldn't go one episode without
without mentioning Trump. I had to. Fuck you, Trump. Oh, that's one for Wolf of Wall Street. But anyways, that's my top 10. Send me comments. Let me know what you think. I'm probably full of shit. I'm sure there's definitely great films that I overlooked. Number 10 was tied with The Revenant, which was Alfonso Cuarón's masterpiece with Leonardo DiCaprio. But the problem with that film, that was a great piece of filmmaking, but it wasn't entertaining. I wasn't entertained by it. It was 3 hours and it was boring as shit. At least Vice was entertaining. So I chose Vice over that. But plus, I lost the disc to the Reverend, so I didn't have a visual aid. So, but anyways, send me your comments. Let me know what you think, and I shall talk to you soon. Until next time, hey dudes, I'm Sir Topham Crap.
I'm disappointed there was no Marvel.
Of course, there was no Marvel. Marvel doesn't make real movies.
Fuck you, Scorsese!
Ooh.